we stay on top. Hit subscribe, you know the vibe. Like my page, get ready to ride. Legal cases, law unpacked. Click that play and don't look back. Legally locked, legally locked, legally locked, legally locked. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. Legally locked, legally locked, legally locked, legally locked.
Legally locked, the truth don't stop. Courtroom drama, we stay on top. Hit subscribe, you know the vibe. Like my page, get ready to ride. Legal cases, law unpacked. Click that play and don't look back. Legally locked, legally locked, legally locked, legally locked, legally locked. Alright, 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 alright. Legally locked, the truth don't stop. Courtroom drama, we stay on top. Hit subscribe, you know the vibe. Like my page, get ready to ride. Legal cases, law unpacked. Click that play and don't look back. Legally locked, legally locked, legally locked, legally locked. All rise, 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 all rise.
What up, what up, what up, y'all? Hey, man, I don't care what nobody say. My theme song is kind of fire. All right, y'all. So the legal world, it's been a lot. You know what I'm saying? Diddy got sentenced, Lil Durk in trouble. It's a lot going on. So in this video, in this live, we're gonna talk about some updated news with Ghislaine Maxwell, Durk. I've been bragging on Durk, saying he's been staying out of trouble, but Durk done got in trouble in jail. Okay, so we're gonna talk about Durkio, and of course, we'll end it off with Diddy. He's recently been sentenced, and we'll take a look at what some of his options are for which prison he wants to go to. Let's get into it.
Legally locked, truth don't stop. Courtroom drama, we stay on top. Hit subscribe, you know the vibe. Like my page, get ready to ride. Legal cases, law unpacked. Click that play and don't look back. Legally locked, legally locked.
All right, all right. Let's take a look at first up, Ghislaine. Ghislaine Ghislaine Maxwell. For y'all that don't know, Ghislaine Maxwell was the right-hand woman to Jeffrey Epstein, the creeper of all creepers. All right. So on October 6th, a couple days ago, the U.S. Supreme Court officially rejected Ghislaine her appeal to overturn her conviction and 20-year sentencing. She pretty much hit the appeals court up and was like, yo, man, y'all, let me out. All right, let me out, because her lawyers tried to argue that she should have been protected by a 2007 plea deal Jeffrey Epstein made with federal prosecutors. The deal supposedly included a non prosecution agreement for all of his potential co conspirators. Basically, they're saying, hey, man, when he signed this deal a couple years ago, Ghislaine should have been covered. Y'all should have never arrested her at all, which is wild. Which is wild that Jeffrey Epstein was even given some type of agreement like that back in the day. Crazy. Crazy what they let people do. But the Supreme Court, they wasn't having it. All right. They declined to even hear the case, giving no explanation, which means Ghislaine, sis, you got to stay in jail. Yep, 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 yep. You still have to be there for that 20-year sentence. Now, not too long after the revelation came out that the Supreme Court wasn't going to overturn her conviction, former, no, not former, current President Donald Trump was asked, hey, man, would you give Ghislaine Maxwell a pardon? Let's see. Do I have the video here to see what he had to say about it? I think I got it here. Let me pull it up, y'all. Where is that video? Y'all know Trump, man. Trump be wildin'. Trump be wildin'. Where's the video here? We're gonna add this.
Supreme Court is back
Yeah,
in
yeah.
session. They rejected today an appeal by Ghislaine Maxwell to overturn her conviction. That means her only chance of getting out of prison is a pardon from you. Is that something you're open
Who
to
are we
doing?
talking about?
Ghislaine Maxwell.
Why he acting slow? Who are we talking about? Who is Ghislaine? Sir, we have been talking about these Epstein files for the past month. Why he sitting there talking about who we talking about?
You know, I haven't heard the name in so long. I can say this, that I'd have to take a look at it. I would have to take a look. Did they reject that?
She wanted to appeal her conviction.
And what happened?
They said that they were not going to hear her appeal.
I see. Well, I'll take a look at it.
So you're considering
I will
that?
speak to the DOJ. I wouldn't consider it or not consider it. I don't know anything about it. So, but I'll speak. I will speak to the DOJ.
Why would she be a candidate for clemency, sir?
I don't know. I mean, I'd have to speak to the DOJ. I'll look at it. I have a lot of people have asked me.
So, my question, Donald Trump, what like what is there to even look at? Like this woman was a part of moving teenage girls around for rich people's pleasure. There's nothing to look at. Why are you looking at her case to see if she should get out? She has to stay there, man. She has to stay there. A lot of people claim that we're only beating down on successful black men. No. Okay? This is considered a successful white woman. So she's going to get equal treatment. She has to stay, man. She got to stay in jail. Now, in August, just a couple months ago, she was quietly moved from a low security facility in Florida to a minimum security federal prison in Texas. She had a little camp. All right. She just chilling at the camp. This facility is often described as camp style. It's not really a cell block. So she's not in a cell anymore. And it only houses women. Most of those people are considered nonviolent or white collar crime. She should not be here because you were doing something that was more than white collar crime. You wasn't just doing fraud and cashing fake checks. You was involved in ruining a lot of people's lives. So this place, this camp where she's at, she shouldn't be there. But we all know what happened. The pressure was on Donald Trump because some Epstein files came up again, and he doing what he got to do to keep her quiet. You know what I'm saying? He moved her out. The transport the transfer reportedly came after Maxwell met with Deputy U.S. Attorney General Todd Blanchie for like 2 days back in July. During the meeting, she allegedly told the officials that she never witnessed any improper activity by Trump related to Epstein. Do we believe that? Do we believe that? No, no, no one believes that. And because you lying, that's why you're not getting out of jail right now. Naturally, that move caused outrage, especially from family members of Epstein's victims. They're saying, hey, man, y'all pushing her over to a nice little country club. She's living a good lifestyle. She gets to do yoga. She cool. She shouldn't be there. She should be in a medium to maximum security prison for what she done to some of those girls. That's what some of the family members are saying. So as of right now, Ghislaine, she's going to be sitting in Club Fed unless Trump decides to partner. Sounds like he's thinking about it. Why he thinking about it? I don't know. I do not know. Ghislaine, sis, you got to sit down, man. You got to sit down. You was involved with some nasty, nasty work. So unless Trump decides to let you free, you got to do that time, sis. You got to sit. You just got to sit. There's nothing else about it. We done with you. We don't even want to talk about you no more. Let's move over to Durky O. Dirk, Dirk. Dirk. Dirk wants his case dismissed, man. I've been bragging on Dirk. I have been saying Dirk has been staying out of trouble, but let's talk about some recent news on him. 1 second. Let me get my little thing pulled up for little old Dirkio. He's involved with this situation with the young boy down here in the South, Quando Rondo. Dirk, man, I don't know. I don't know, but let's take a look. Lil Durk, he's facing his own federal charges of his own. His legal team just recently filed motions to get his case dismissed. Right now, he's facing charges for being the head honcho and calling out plays to get his rival rapper, Quando Rondo, sent to the Lord. Okay, he was trying to take Quando Rondo out of the game. All right. The trial, which was already delayed. It was supposed to start this month. It's now set for January of 2026. And Dirk, he's been locked up in the LA jail without bail since October of wow. Has it been that long? It's been a year. Dang, man, time is flying. It seems like Dirk just got locked up like 6 months ago. He's been there for almost a year. So the trial date got moved from October to January 2026, partly because one of his co defendants needed more time to prepare for the case. The judge labeled it a very complex case since there's around 20,000 pages, 20,000 pages of reports, and over 230 gigabytes of digital evidence. That's a lot, bro. That's a lot of discovery that people have to go through. My God. 230 gigabytes? Durkio, what was you doing, boy? What was you doing? But look, I'm gonna tell y'all a little secret here. Let me tell y'all a secret. I'm sorry, I'm just checking my phone. I think Dirk can beat this case. I personally, just based off of what I'm hearing and seeing, Dirk can beat this case. You know why Dirk can beat this case? They're not gonna get Quando Rondo to testify. Dirk, his lawyers are going to put a lot of reasonable doubt because unless the feds are coming with something concrete, unless they got like Dirk on a phone line saying, "Hey man, go handle that," it's going to be a lot of he said, she said. Even if there's snitches that flip on him and tell him what's going on, Dirk, Dirk got a better chance of beating this case than I thought. A year ago, I was like, "Oh man, he cooked, he cooked." But Dirk, he might got a little chance here. Dirk's lawyers are arguing that the indictment is very vague, basically saying the feds haven't given enough details for them to properly defend him. They claim the government's theory keeps changing and is relying on witnesses whose stories have morphed over time. A hearing on that motion is scheduled for November 18th, and that's going to be a very big moment in this case. Now, me personally, I don't think the judge is going to throw this case out. It's too much stuff here that's kind of linking Dirk to be involved with all of this. There's a lot of stuff linking Dirk, but there's also not hard concrete evidence. So that's why I think that the judge is going to keep it on. It's going to let him go to trial. But I do think Dirk can beat this. Now, prosecutors, they ain't backing down either. Back in August, they asked the court for an anonymous jury after jail officials allegedly caught Dirk with the Apple Watch and then he tried to destroy the watch. So they think that Dirk is essentially using this Apple Watch to intimidate victims. Well, not necessarily victims, but to intimidate witnesses, to try to get people not to switch on him. For a little background, Dirk, he was arrested on federal murder for hire charges tied to the shooting in LA that targeted the little young boy Quando Rondo. Rondo wasn't hit, but his cousin Lil Paul, yeah, Lil Paul was unalive. Sad, 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 sad. Prosecutors are saying that the hit was a retaliation for the 2020 killing of Dirk's close friend King Von. So this is pretty much the case on Lil Durk. 5 members of his OTF crew was indicted, and then a superseding indictment came late 2024, adding even more charges to Dirk, including conspiracy, firearm charges, and a lot more. Not to mention, earlier this year, Lil Pob's mother. Let me see if I can find a picture of Lil Pob so we can see what he looks like. Hold on here. Hold on, y'all. This is actually kind of sad because you had Quando Rondo and Lil Pob. They was pretty much just over in LA chilling, and allegedly Dirk and his people tried to hit Quando Rondo, but they hit Lil Pob instead, and took him out. So man, it's actually unfortunate that we're in this kind of cycle of violence. I'm trying to find a picture of Lil Pop. Why can't I find one? I want to see what he looks like. Is this him? Man, for some reason, I can't find a picture of Lil Pop. I wanted to see what he looks like. But long story short, what's going on is earlier this year, I think it was around January or February, Lil Pop's mother filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Dirk, his label, and his manager. So Dirk is fighting on the criminal front. He's also fighting on the civil fronts as well. Of course, Dirk has pled not guilty across the board completely. Dirk is saying, I ain't got nothing to do with this. And prosecutors have said that they're not seeking the death penalty, which is good because at first Dirk was facing life in prison and possibly the death penalty. Prosecutors are saying we're going to take that off the table. We don't want to fry him, but he still could face life in prison. Do y'all think this Fed case, is gonna get Dirk yoked up. I think he got a chance of beating it. All right, I think he got a chance of beating it, and you know why I think he has a chance? Because we just went through this with um. Why am I drawing a blank on old boy from Tennessee? Uh, t- 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 Young Dolph. We just went through this with Young Dolph. So Young Dolph, um, there was a trial recently with one of the dudes who allegedly set up the murdering of Dolph. That dude beat that case. So after he beat that case, I'm like, hey man, Dirk might got a chance. Dirk might got a chance. But let's move on to the diddler. Let's move on to Diddy.
Bad boy.
Yeah, Mr. Bad Boy.
Bad boy.
The diddler. All right. So for y'all that don't know, Diddy, he's been sentenced to about 4 years in prison for being found guilty of the Mann Act, which means he illegally transported escorts across state lines for immoral activity. All right, Diddy. Yeah, my boy, you got to sit down for a little bit. I don't know how long Diddy gonna be sitting down, and you know what? That man in there crying. Diddy is in jail crying like they just gave him 30 years. Bro, you just got to sit down for a little bit. You know what I'm saying? It ain't that bad. Now, Diddy's team, they originally wanted time served. However, Judge Room felt like since there were instances of violence during the commission of the Mann Act, he felt like Diddy needed to serve at least 4 years. Yep. So Diddy, you got to sit down for a little bit, my boy. Now, of course, Diddy's team is going to appeal the sentencing. They feel like it's not fair because they feel like the judge used acquitted offenses to add to Diddy's time. They say that he wasn't convicted of trafficking or RICO, and the judge shouldn't be able to reference things like that during the sentencing. However, this appeal, this appeal is not going to be overturned. Judges, they have discretion with how much time they want to give. The prosecution wanted 11 years. The Office of Probation wanted 7. The judge gave him 4. So it's not like the judge went above and beyond and gave Diddy 20 years in prison. He went way below the recommended sentence. So Diddy just gonna have to do a little bit of this time. I don't think this is gonna be overturned in appeal. And by the time it makes it to an appeal court, he might be out of jail. Sometimes it can take anywhere from 2, 3, 4, 5 years for your appeal to even be seen. Diddy gonna be out by then. Crying. Do the time, my boy. Now, Diddy's team wants him to be sent to Fort Dix, which is a low level camp style jail. It's dormitory style. And I think that's pretty good. You're not locked up in a jail cell, you're in a dorm, and they also have the FDAP program. So for y'all that don't know about the FDAP program, I talked to someone I know who went through that program, and they pretty much stated that everybody think that's an easy program, but it's not. It's not built for everybody. He says he knows people who get kicked out of it all the time. But essentially, FDAP is a program where it helps people with drug addictions. It helps you address your problems. And if they can complete the program, they can shave time off of their sentencing. So Diddy can get almost a year knocked off if he can complete the program. First, he got to get accepted into the program. But once he's accepted in, if he completes it, he can get another year knocked off. So let me tell you what my homeboy told me about the FDAP program. Let me see. Let me check the text that he sent me. Hold on. All right. He said that the FDAP program is very strict. It's not peaches and cream. It's not that they just gonna be sitting there talking about their feelings. It is a very strict militant type program. He said it's almost like being in boot camp in the military. You got to get up, you got to make your bed, you got to follow like these very strict guidelines of behavior. He said people in the FDAP program, they are going to be separated from other inmates. So Diddy's like sleeping and housing arrangements. He's gonna be in his own unit. He's not gonna be with General Pop. Um, but sometimes people can get a little jealous. He said the people in General Pop sometimes are jealous of the people in the RDAP program because they know these people are getting time off. But he did say the downside on being in RDAP, once again, it is very militant, it is very strict. When you in General Pop, you can walk around, you can watch TV, you can chill, you can play games. RDAP ain't like that. It's very structured. So for someone like Diddy, who's always used to being in control, I think the RDAP program may be a little challenging for him, but I also think people like Diddy, they can thrive in structured situations because Diddy, he's a creature of habit. Like I think once he gets in the habit of something, he can tackle it. So this RDAP program may actually work for him, but he also has to be receptive to dealing with like these structured guidelines, right? You got to stay in these habits that you can't just break. So let's take a look at Diddy's sentencing. Right now, he has 50 months. All right. He's already completed like 12 or 13 of those months. So that leaves 3 years. 3 years, Diddy. You only got 3 years now. If he can complete the RDAP program, that may knock off another year. So now you're down to 2 years. If he's on good behavior, they may knock off a couple more months. So in reality, Diddy can be out by 2027, maybe sooner. You know what I'm saying? Maybe sooner, but only if he can get into that RDEP program. If you only got to sit for another 2 years, Diddy, and you get to be in this low level cushy camp, bruh, do that time, man. Go ahead and do that time and knock it out. Now, honestly, my homeboy was talking to me. He did some Fed time. He said he actually wouldn't be surprised if Diddy ends up in a medium security prison versus a camp. He wants to go to a camp. So when you had a camp, ain't no like gates. It's literally like a camp. You kind of free to escape if you want. If you escape and they bring you back, you're gonna be in trouble. Versus a regular prison, it has like the barbed wire and it's usually gated in. So Diddy's team wants him to go to a camp. My homeboy said the reason Diddy may not be able to get into a camp is because, I mean, he was convicted of a he was convicted of a sex crime. Let's just call it what it is, and there was violence involved. So since there was violence involved with the crime, he may actually end up in a low security prison or a medium security prison versus a camp. Ghislaine Maxwell, who we talked about earlier, she was originally in a low security prison. Now she's in a camp. And a camp is exactly what it sounds like. Most of the time, you have your low level financial crime offenders there, mostly non-violent people. Non-violent people. Diddy has violence on his record, so he may not end up in that camp. You know what I'm saying? Mm-mm-mm. Now, once Diddy does get out, he'll also be on 5 years of probation after release. So he'll still need to kind of be on the straight and narrow for about a year or so after he's released. Now, we did hear a few months ago that people in Diddy's camp and his team, they were asking Trump for a pardon. Trump has now officially confirmed that. Trump's so messy, bro. He said, "Yeah, the diddler, his team, they did ask me for a pardon." I mean, man, Trump might let him out. You know what I'm saying? Trump likes to have his ego massaged. You know what I'm saying? He looks at Diddy as a peer. He's a businessman. I'm a businessman. We both like taking advantage of women, so he might get out. Let me find the video on what Trump said.
Supreme Court is back in
Yeah.
session. They rejected today an appeal by Ghislaine Maxwell to overturn her conviction. That means her only chance at getting.
Look at it. I have a lot of people who have asked me for pardons. I call him Puff Daddy has asked me for a pardon.
But she was convicted of child sex trafficking.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have to take a look at it. I have.
So they was asking Trump about Ghislaine Maxwell. They like, yo, Trump, Ghislaine Maxwell trying to get out of jail. You gonna let her out? Why he gonna look to the hey, I don't know nothing about her, but Puff Daddy called me. The Puff Daddy, the diddler, he called me. He trying to redirect what's going on. So Trump might let him out. You know what I'm saying? Trump might let him out. Now, what I can say is having this conviction, it does kind of slow up Diddy's hustle a little bit. You're on probation. You can't really move like you want. Diddy is used to waking up saying, let's go to the Bahamas. Now you got to call and tell somebody where you going and you got to see if they can approve it. So I can see why Diddy wants a pardon. He wants this stuff completely wiped off of his record. He don't want to report to no probation officer. Diddy want to get out and move like he want to move. All right. Now, let me tell you why Diddy's team should have never argued that he's a filmmaker. So, for y'all that don't know, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, when Diddy's team was trying to appeal the conviction, they said, hey, man, you know what? Diddy wasn't really transporting escorts across state lines. These were actors, and he's a movie director. You know what I'm saying? He's creating adult content. I don't think they should have ever argued that. And let me tell you why they should have never argued that. Diddy has a ton of civil cases. Now, some of these cases, they not legit. All right. Some of them not legit. I don't think some of them are real. Some of these cases are real. And not only are some of these cases real, they're alleging that Diddy filmed them without their consent or filmed them in an intimate act. So a lot of lawyers in these civil cases are going to point to the federal trial and say, hey, his lawyers, they said he likes to film. My client said that they were filmed. So, hey, man, sometimes the things you say as lawyers can come back to haunt you. For example, His lawyers kept saying, "Oh, this is just domestic violence. This is just violent." Yeah, he's violent. Those words came back to bite Diddy because the judge pretty much looked at them in their face and said, "Look, man, I can't let this guy out. Y'all have been saying over the course of 8 weeks that he's violent, so he got to go to jail." So Diddy's lawyer saying that he likes to film things that may come back to haunt him in these civil cases because there's a lot of accusations of Diddy filming people without their knowledge and these tapes getting out into the public. But man, that's all I have today, y'all. For anybody that's here and has hung out with me for these past 25 minutes, thanks for hanging out. Um, do y'all think Diddy is going to be able to keep it alive and stay strong for those next 2 years? Do you think Dirk can beat his case? And aren't you happy that Ghislaine Maxwell is staying in jail? I am. Thanks for hanging out with me. Peace. Get him a